Good evening. Welcome to Leicester Fan TV, Thursday night, the prediction show again. Another special guest to come on tonight and pit his wit against myself and Jack. Ian Hume got a steady 5 last week in his points tally. I think he'll be happy with that. And we'll have him back on with a steady 5. Remember, if you're watching this live, get your comments in, guys. We're all here to have a laugh and a joke. When I ask you for predictions, get them in. I'll put them on screen. If you're watching this back, subscribe, like, share. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and remember, if you hit the notification, as soon as we go live, you'll see us. But now it's 7:30, and it's time for the prediction show.
Welcome to Leicester Fan TV. Are you ready for the Fan Zone show? Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, and Hope Against Cancer. We want your views, we want your comments, so join us live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There we go, guys. Get your comments in. Sue's about. Hayley, good evening. Need Jack to shed the AK mask covered like you, Tom. Oh dear. Evening, Faye. Hope you're okay. We'll come to that game. Evening, Dave. Gavin. I hope you're well, mate. Evening, Kane. Evening, Lily. Let's get Jack in, who had a very good week last week. Jack, you got 7 points that moved you into second place. The guests are on 16, Jack's on 15, and I'm on 11. Sadly, we haven't got a table this week. We won't talk about that. We will not talk about that, Philip. But yeah, the guests are in the lead by 1 point. Jack comes second with a steady 5. Time to get some more points then, Jack.
Yeah, just a shame Leicester couldn't do me any favours last week and bring them positive vibes and keep them going. But we're going to move on. This is this week now, week 3, not week 2. So let's look ahead to this one, Tom, and let's get going.
Exactly. Well, as I said, we got another special guest. A man that came through the youth ranks at Leicester, played at the famous Filbert Street I used to go to. It saves my age. I went to Filbert Street. Scored the first ever goal. Well, Brian D might say not the first ever, but it is for me. The first ever goal at the Walkers Stadium in a friendly. He scored a famous goal at the Etihad by running half the length of the pitch and curling one past the Man City goalkeeper. It's a famous Jordan Stewart here with us tonight, ladies. Jordan, had to mention that goal, mate. You had to mention your goal.
I keep telling Brian. I spoke to Dino the other day, and I always tell him like I scored the first goal. Like there's no arguments about it.
Oh dear, that was a good season, though, mate. You scored in the game at Brighton at home that season as well, when we got promoted back to the Premier League, and you must have some good memories for being at the club. Like, for even though we got relegated and it was hard to go down away, the way it happened at Filbert Street with leaving that ground, but moving to Walker's Stadium. The Walker Stadium as it was then, with a Gary Lineker stand at the family end. Good memories to see us back promoted to the Premier League first time round.
No, it was good, even from them 2 goals, because those are the only 2 goals I scored in my head. So those are the ones that stand out the most. But yeah, it's good times, man. It's like through the turmoil of that season and obviously getting promoted back to the Prem, and for me it was great. It was a great season.
I always have to give credit to yourself. The whole of that team really got promoted because you boys took a big risk. Having listened to Under the Kosh podcast with Mr. Tank, Alan Rogers. Yeah. And as he famously said, we took a massive risk. We might have come out of it money, out with nothing. You took pay cuts, you took wage reductions, and basically said that if you get promoted, you'd get that back plus a hefty bonus, what you've got done. But it just showed, I think, the faith that you team as a team had with each other to get back out the old League One at the time.
Yeah, I think for us, we had to, for me, because I was only young, so like my wages compared to like the older lads was obviously minimal. But for the people like Muzzy, Robbie Savage that decided to stay at the club when they could have left, I think for me, looking back at it now, we have to give the most credit to those players that stayed, because I don't think if we had them, we would have got promoted back to the Premier League. So it was tough, because I remember at the start, nobody was like, you know what you're like, and no one wants to take your money away, right? But then when when everyone was saying, well, people are going to start losing their jobs in and around the club, I think as soon as they said that, all the older guys were like, listen, guys, this is what we have to do. And as a young lad, you're just going to listen to the older pros. And ultimately, we had a great season and got back promoted to the Premier League.
You're never going to say no to Taggart, are you, really?
Well, Taggart, Elliot, like just past them two, it's like, okay, where do I sign?
Oh, dear. Well, we'll move on to the first fixture of the weekend. Manchester City versus Arsenal. And Arsenal lost the first 2 games in the Premier League. Man City have lost 1 and won 1. I know they beat Norwich, but it's still a win in the belt. Jack, what's your prediction for this week, mate?
Well, Arsenal fans are going to be confident after beating West Brom's C or B team, whatever you want to call it. You know, they didn't really. They changed 11 off the pot last night. Arsenal will be happy with that, won't they? They'll big themselves up to be a top 6 club again. Apparently, Man City are only a bit better than what West Brom's team was last night. I really doubt that. It's going to be a difficult game for Arsenal. These ain't no West Brom B side Manchester City. These are a big European side with very classy players. The best in the world, shall I put it? Arsenal have got Aubameyang back now. He scored a hat-trick against West Brom B team. I think Manchester City, you know, are going to come out of this game 4-0. So that's my prediction.
Jordan, what's your go for in this big game, really, in some ways?
Yeah, I put City to win 3-0. And the reason, first of all, when I watch Arsenal play, I just doesn't look like there's any desire in the way. I don't know what it is. And I think when you look at from when we used to play them, like back in like 04 or 05, the Invincible team, compared to like now, it's night and day. So, and when I look at their team, I don't see any leaders in there. Obviously, Aubameyang, he scores goals, but as like leadership of what Arsenal's always known to have, I don't think they have that. And obviously, City's flying great squad, and maybe if they get CR7, they might be even better.
So 3-0. I've gone for a 3-1. I think Aubameyang might get on a score sheet after a bit of confidence booster in the week. What's the fans say to this one? You must have said 7-0 Man City. Gray says 3-0. Steve says 3-1. 5-0. 3-0. Mahrez trick. Could happen. Dagon says a 4-1. Chris Wood says, what's Chris Wood? Sorry.
Everyone's saying
3-0. Right? Yeah, going with you. Move on to the second game of the weekend. The Dean Smith derby, we should call this one.
Yes.
Aston Villa versus Brentford. Jack, what's your thoughts of the Dean Smith derby?
Brentford have had a very good start to life in the Premier League. 4 points from 2 games. Their fans be ecstatic with getting 4 points. Aston Villa, on the other hand, they humiliated Newcastle. Newcastle very poor. And Aston Villa, what a goal by Danny Ings. Overhead kick, no chance for the goalkeeper. And they were off celebrating. If you can keep Danny Ings fit this season, he'll be a phenomenal striker up front like he always is. Brentford, on the other hand, they've got their own striker in Ivan Toney, haven't they? A beast up front, knows where the goal is. So it's going to be the battle of the strikers, Toney versus Ings. Who's going to come out on top? It's going to be like a wrestling match. I mean, Thomas Frank will set up well for this one at Villa Park. I think they'd take a point, Brentford, from this one. I'm going to go Aston Villa 1, Brentford 1.
Nice. Jordan, what's your prediction in the Dean Smith derby?
The same 1-1. Hey, you been reading my notes or what? Yeah, I put 1-1. I think, as you said, I put down here like Danny Ings is the key for Villa. Like if he can get between 10 and 15 goals, I think they can come around mid-table, between 10th and 12th position. And Brentford, obviously turning up front, but then for me, like the manager Thomas Frank, it looks like a manager that you want to play for, and I think the players know that, and especially the fans can see that. So home games, I think they're going to be very strong, and I think they're going to stay up this season. But I think it's going to be 1-1 draw.
See, I'm going for a 2-0 Villa win this weekend. I mean, I live in Redditch, was 30 minutes from the centre of Birmingham, and a lot of Villa fans. And speaking to a few of them, like they said, they were very, very poor for 45 minutes at Watford. But after that, they should have probably got a point out of it. They had enough chances at Watford. They then beat Newcastle, and they go into this game with a lot of confidence. So I'm going to go 2-0 Villa this time. I just think that home form for Villa is going to be crucial for them staying up to this top of the league, where last year they didn't get enough home points for me. Everyone else is saying this game, so Fee said 5-0 City, by the way. 5-1, sorry. Gray says a 2-1 Villa win. Ben says a 3-1 Villa win. Dan says 2-2. He's going with the draw with you boys. Another Stephen says 2-1 Villa. Brentford 3-1. That could be a shock. That could be one of the shocks of the weekend if that was the case. Yeah. Fee says 2-2. Gavin says 2-2. Kev says at 2-1, looks strong, playing good football. Brentford. Be another strong that will be. We then go to the third game. Brighton versus Everton. Brighton have started off with a 100% record in the Premier League versus an Everton side who have won one and drawn one with Ellen Road and Damari Gray. Fair play. He's starting to show that potential he had, and he's got to keep that up because we know what happened at Leicester. It faded away, and for me, he's a very good player. Just needs to play and get that quality shown, and if he carries what he's doing, then fair play to the kid. Jack, what's your thoughts, mate, on Brighton versus Everton?
Brighton's had a very good start to the Premier League season. 2 wins from 2. Confidence is flying within the Brighton squad. They'll obviously want to keep that run going, beating a Everton side who's got 4 points from 2 games. Everton seem to still lack that defensive options and that they still concede quite a lot of sloppy goals. Brighton played Watford off the park last week, and they come back against Burnley, which I think gives them hope that they can go and beat any team in the Premier League if they can play the way they are. I mean, Brighton seems to be inconsistent at times, and Everton the same. I'm going to go Brighton 2, Everton 1 in this one.
Brighton 2, Everton 1. Thank you, Jack. Jordan?
I've gone Brighton 1, Everton 2. And I think when you're saying about Brighton's top of the table, and the teams that they've been, like Burnley and Watford, are the teams that they need to beat to stay upright. So I think they're doing that. But ultimately, I think Everton, squad-wise, are strong. And I'd put as well, Gray for Everton would be the difference. I've known Damari since he was like waist height. So I think he's been a great addition to Everton. Obviously, for whatever reason, didn't pan out at Leicester. But I think if he's one of them players that needs that consistent run of games, 10, 20 games. And then once he feels like it's not, I'm going to start this weekend or I'm going to be on the bench. I think once you get that consistency from him, then it will flourish. And for me, like you said, he's a great player.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you talk about Damari Gray, mate. You've known him since a kid more than I have. But I think Leicester fans are frustrated because you'd see him score the worldie at Man United when he smashes one in the top corner. He then starts the next game and there's just nothing there, if you get what I mean. It was a flat performance from him.
It's consistency, right?
Yeah. And but then for me, as a Leicester fan, looking at him as an ex-player yourself, is it a confidence thing with Damari, would you say, more than anything else? Because he's got all the potential, mate, and he's got the ability. We can see that. Do you think it's just a lack of confidence and belief sometimes in himself?
I don't. It's hard, right? Because sometimes it can be that. Sometimes it can be you're just a young player and you're not at that average 7 or 8 every week. Like when I was young, I was never there. I was up and down, and that's just part and parcel of learning the game and getting more repetitions of playing. As you get older, everything slows down because you think to yourself, why didn't I play like that when I was younger? But it's just putting yourself in the situations over time. So I think the more games he gets, the better he's going to get as a player. And obviously when you have a manager that is going to be playing you most of the time, then it all works out for itself in the end.
I've gone for a 1-1 draw in this, and the one person who worries me for Everton, he's made 2 mistakes in 2 games, and that's Keane at the back for them, Michael Keane. Yeah. Two games, 2 mistakes. I mean, This is a player who was on the fringes of the English squad last year with the performance he was putting in. Now, the question is it because we put fans back in the ground? Is he very nervous having all these fans back in, where last year you had a freedom to play, you ain't got to worry about anyone being in the ground watching you up to the last 2 games of the season? Is the pressure suddenly on him that he needs to perform again, and he's just struggling with that? So, yeah, I've gone for a 1-0 draw in this fixture. Let's go down and see what people say. Gray says 1-1 as well. Dan says 3-2 to Everton. Neil says 3-2 to Brighton. 3-1 to Brighton, says Fee. So loads of big score in this game.
Lots of goals, yeah.
Lots of goals. Ben says 2-2 draw, just a last-minute goal from Everton to win it. Brighton 2, Toffees 2, Gray not to score. 3-0 Brighton, Bazuma double. I've got to admit, I love that chant by the Brighton fan, Bazuma. Adam says a 2-1 Everton win. Then we go to Newcastle versus Southampton. Interesting starts for both of them. Newcastle's lost 2 games now. Southampton, well, lost the first game and then drew with Man United in the second game. What's your thoughts on this one, Jack?
Newcastle have struggled just like last night against Burnley in the Cup. They didn't seem to turn up and they got knocked out. Newcastle previous, losing 4-2 to West Ham. And losing against Aston Villa as well, it knocks their confidence. I think when Saint-Maximin's on his day, Newcastle are good. When Saint-Maximin doesn't play, Newcastle don't play. But you can't count on one player to get the job done to make sure you get them 3 points. You've all got to be in it to win it as a team. I don't know what Steve Bruce is really saying to Newcastle at times. I mean, last night you've seen him standing away from the group when they was having a chat as a group, huddling each other and that. But Southampton, a point against Manchester United, which could have been 3 points for them. They played fantastically well against a very good Manchester United side who spent all this money this window. They lost, obviously, to Everton the week before, but I think they've got over that one, and I think they've moved on. And this 1-1 draw against Manchester United will give them confidence going into a Newcastle game, because they'll want to kick Newcastle off piece by piece now, knowing Newcastle haven't got the confidence. So I'm going to go Southampton 2, Newcastle 0.
2-0. Jordan.
I've got Newcastle 1, Southampton 0. Especially for me, win. Yep, home win. Fans, they're going to give them that extra oomph that they need, because their confidence is lower than a snake's belly at the minute. So I think they need all the confidence in the world. And like, if Callum starts firing, he missed that big chance against Villa the other day. If that goes in, is the game a different story, right? And then, as you said, Southampton, that 1-1 draw against Man U, they're going to have confidence going into the game. But for me, I'm going home win, and I think Callum's gonna score the winner.
Fair play. I'm going for a 2-1 Southampton win. I just think the confidence is completely drained out of Newcastle at the moment. I think if they were to lose tomorrow, there'd be a lot of disgruntled Newcastle fans. It's on Saturday, and I think Steve Bruce's head might be on the chopping block, considering they've gone out the League Cup to Burnley last night. I think they lost on penalties. Yep. And I just don't see where the creativity of Saint-Maximin isn't firing for them coming from. They've let Andy Carroll, the horse, go now. I think for me, you would have given another season if you could have got him fit. I just think they look weak up front. I really do. I don't think Joel Linton can give them enough goals to keep them in the Premier League, and you can't keep relying on Callum Wilson to score you 30, 40 goals in this division. You know, if you got to think about it, you're looking at 20 goals, well, 10 to 15 goals for a striker, and then everyone else chipping in will keep you in the Premier League, I'd say, nowadays. Yeah. As for Southampton, I think Armstrong's signing is brilliant. I've always rated him, and I think he'll go back and haunt his boyhood club tomorrow. He grew up in Newcastle. He left to then go and progress his career, and he's done brilliantly. And from the goal he scored at Southampton against Everton on the opening day, when he nicked the ball and put it in the top corner, there's a kid with some confidence. So, yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-1 close game, but 2-1 to Southampton. See what everyone says. Great. Adam says 2-1 to Everton. Saints 2-1 again. Faye says 5-0 to Southampton.
Oh, wow.
That'd be an interesting scoreline. I think Steve Bruce would be going out the exit door.
That'd be his last weekend for sure.
Lee says 1-1 draw. Stephen says 1-1 draw. 2-0 win, says Kev for the Toon. Gav says 2-1 to Newcastle. That's a win there. Lil says 3-0 Southampton. Ben says 1-0 to Newcastle. 600-mile round trip as well. I'm glad we live in the Midlands. It's always nice. You got just there, just pop across the road. Eh? We then move to our biggest game of the season so far. Sometimes after the other night, Leicester, what you say, beat Wolves 1-0. Not comfortably, didn't play the best football, and I think there's still a lot more to come from a Leicester side there. Struggling without having Johnny Evans at the back for me. We missed that leader in the back line. Against a Norwich team who's now conceded 8 goals in the Premier League, haven't scored a goal. So we all know what's going to happen with this one, Leicester fans. It's typical Leicester. We did it last season. We let them win. Jack, what's your thoughts of this tough game for Leicester? And it is a tough game. This is not going to be any easy game to Carroll Road.
No game's easy in the Premier League. You should never underestimate the opposition. It's the toughest league in the world and the best league in the world, the Premier League. It's the unexpected league where you're not guaranteed to win every week, no matter who you are or who you're up against. Leicester got a hammering against West Ham, absolutely hammered last week. Mikel Antonio running the show again, which was expected of Leicester fans being wary of that sort of threat, the big presence that he is, the pace, the power. And you just put Leicester to the sword. We were under the cosh last week. West Ham fully deserved that win. We never turned up, and it wasn't a delightful game than what Leicester fans expected to be. West Ham made it difficult, and we didn't turn up. I mean, Johnny Evans, leader at the back. Cags goes walkabouts, doesn't he, without Johnny Evans? Johnny Evans makes him this £100 million player, what people think Cags is, and he isn't. Obviously losing Fofana, Vestergaard, Bertrand, James Justin. We've got injury crisis this season. Vestergaard won't be fit for this weekend. Bertrand will. Will Castagna come back in this weekend at right back? Obviously, Ricardo might go right wing, considering Perez got a red card, which was rightfully so a red. I know it was a so-called push in the back, but you can't be going challenges like that in any game. Maybe it'll make Leicester fans happy this week, who's been criticising Perez since not really performing here. Norwich, on the other hand, like you say, 8 goals. They expect it, don't they? Losing to Liverpool and Manchester City. And it's another tough game against Leicester. Leicester will want to get back to winning ways, and so will Norwich. They'll want to get their points on the board as well. So a very difficult game away from home. I'm not expecting it to be easy. I think Cantwell and stuff like that, they'll want confidence after a 6-0 win against a B-side Brentford Bournemouth side. I'm going to go 2-1 Leicester in this one. I think we've got enough threat to damage their Premier League welcome even more.
What's your thoughts on this one, Jordan?
I've got Leicester winning 2-0 with a Vardy brace. But then for me, because when I look at Norwich, just from the 2 games, they're favourites to go down, right? Like I don't see where they're gonna get their goals from. Like just the way they set up. And I think going back, even watching the highlights of the West Ham game, all of those goals were avoidable. It wasn't like, no, apart from maybe the third goal where he's turned and slot it in. It was all avoidable, even with 10 men. So I think when you look at that, you can still have a bit of confidence, right? It's not like teams are slicing you and dicing you. So for me, I think Leicester's gonna win comfortably 2-0, especially after the red card, which I think it's hard. I think it's harsh. I don't think he's meant to do it. I think he's meant to try and get his body across him. But when you look at it in slow-mo, it makes it worse. But then what surprised me is when they even showed it on the big screen. Because I feel like, do you really need to show that? And because then obviously the West Hams get amped up and that kind of stuff, and the players think that it's a malicious foul. So I just don't think it was done correctly, in my opinion.
It wouldn't be in your danger on that one to be a red card, would it?
Nah, it's play hard. The refs go like this. Play hard.
Dickoff did that every week to the defenders, didn't he?
It's always the one, as the fullback's getting the ball, you can just see Dickoff running across thinking, oh my God, he's gonna follow him. Yeah.
I've gone 2-0 on this weekend as well, mate. I like you said at the beginning. I love Norwich. The football club is run properly like Leicester's is. They've got good owners with good art, and they don't want to get themselves into any debt. So fair play to them. They don't come up. They don't splash the cash and spend silly money on transfers and wages. They've got a structure that works for them. They're quite happy winning the championship every other season and a bit of silverware in the cupboard. Then fair play to them. I've gone 2-0, and I've got Daka. I've got a feeling Daka could be the difference there. I think Vardy might start and wear them down, and then 20 minutes ago, bring Daka on, who looks scary. Even against West Ham, I thought he did well when he came on. He closed the back line down. He was hassling them. He chucked his body in a few times on the West Ham players. So I'd be nice to see Daka get a brace and get in the scoreline. Jordan, I've got a question for you, mate. Jordan, I'm moving to Athos, Greece. Where's the best place for a pint?
The thing is, there's a I can't even remember what the strip's called, but like where I was living, there's probably you probably won't get a good pint. You probably get more. What was the name of that spirit that they always give me? I can't remember because you probably. I had one and I probably just forgot about everything. Zampi, what's he living there? That's strange. But definitely go to Kavala, which is just around the corner. It's like a nice little port. It's like the Monte Carlo of Greece. Well, yeah.
See why you were there, can't we, eh? The Monte Carlo, eh? Grace says 3-1 to Leicester. Dan says 4-2 City. 4-2. Wow, that'd be. I'll take that for a game of football. 2-0 Leicester. 3-0 to Leicester. Stephen says 3-1 to Leicester. 4-0 to Leicester. Perez, without don't rate him. I know people don't rate Perez. I think 2-1. I always say so. Everyone says don't rate Perez. Can we just remember back to May when he was the one who intercepted the ball that fell to Luke Thomas to pass it to Tielemans to score a goal? So just remember, if Perez hadn't won that ball back with it flicking off his hand, we don't talk about that much.
We were talking about that ball going down to West Ham.
Hey, that ball doesn't go in the back of the net, so let's give Perez a little bit of credit for helping setting up the winner. Mark says 3-1 to the Foxes. We then move on to our opponents on Monday night. West Ham home to Crystal Palace, a London derby. Crystal Palace still looking for their first win after a draw with Brentford and a loss to Chelsea against the West Ham team who've scored 8 goals in 2 games. And Mikel Antonio, well, as I said before, the boy should have gone to the Euros. He was on fine form last season. He's even on more fine form this season, and he looks like causing people problems. And I said on Monday night when we were doing the watch long, he's not a normal striker. He doesn't remind you of any kind of striker in the Premier League, but he's got this knack of being in the right place. He can hold the ball up really well, and he's just a handful for me. He's such a handful. Jack, what's your thoughts on West Ham versus Palace?
Palace's form couldn't come at the best of times, could it? Playing a West Ham side who's gone a fantastic run of form, beating Newcastle 4-2, winning comfortably against Leicester City. They're on fine form, 8 goals in 2 games. Mikel Antonio's on fire, so is Ben Rama. David Moyes has got them set up fantastically, and credit to him. They were top 6 last season, and rightfully so. Fantastic season of dark horses when no one expected them to be there, and they got there on hard work and merit. Credit West Ham. This is no easy game for Crystal Palace and Patrick Vieira. They might as well stay at home and just watch it on the TV. Crystal Palace are on a bad run of form. The only player who I think could change this game is Wilfried Zaha. If Zaha's not playing, Crystal Palace ain't playing. West Ham are going to be very difficult at home as well. Home advantage, the crowd will be right behind them from the first minute to the last, like it was against Leicester. Mikel Antonio is going to be running through Crystal Palace's defence like he did Leicester's and cut them apart. Akinfenwa of the Premier League, Mikel Antonio. I'm going to go West Ham 4, Crystal Palace 0.
West Ham 4, Crystal Palace 0. What's your thoughts on this one with the beast Akinfenwa playing?
I've got West Ham winning 3-1. And my notes are the same: 8 goals in 2 games. And Antonio reminds me of not a bit plain, but like Emil Heskey back in the day. How if he was a Leicester fan, you knew how good he was, but kind of went under the radar of like other strikers at that time. And I think the same's happening with Antonio. Is like, for me, he's got all the attributes, and like you said, he's scoring goals. But just for some whatever reason, he's staying on the radar. And at home, obviously, the big stadium, fans are going to be behind him. And yeah, like you said, Palace, Benteke, you don't know what you're going to get from him. And Zaha is, like you say, if he's not firing, then they struggle, especially offensively. So if they don't get to a good start, then it could be another 4.
3-1. I've gone for a 3-0. I'm going for a Antonio hat-trick this weekend. I think the lad's on fire, mate. He's on fire. And what you said, he does remind you of Heskey, because Heskey was just awkward to play against because he just barged you out of the way. Against the Palace team, well, we knew a few years ago, Palace went down this line of hiring De Boer, and it went completely wrong, and they had to get rid of him and start again. You know, they brought in Vieira, who didn't really do much in France. He didn't do very much in America. So really, like De Boer, this is his probably only chance he'll get in the Premier League, and if it doesn't work out for him, then that's not far off the end of his manager career in some ways. I feel sorry for managers get done that quick, but we all know it's cutthroat in the Premier League, and if you now go into this game and don't win or get something from it at 1 point from the opening 3, Palace fans will be a bit concerned. So I'm going to go 3-0 to the West Ham.
Home's under the hammer for Crystal Palace. I'm sorry. Hammer time.
Grace says 2-1. Lee says 3-1 to the Hammers. Stephen says 2-0 to the Hammers. Hammers will say 3-0. They go for a 3-0. Dan says 3-1.
Here you go, Dan.
4-0. 3-0. Yeah, sure, there you got one. 4-1 again. Safe day, Gavin. 5-0 Palace. Okay. Hey, look, we've all seen football. Things can happen. Mark says 3-0 to the Hammers. Well, what can you say about that? We then move on to a mouth-watering tie for me at the 5:30 kickoff on the Saturday, last game of Saturday. Liverpool versus Chelsea in the Premier League. 2 teams who are both going to be up there at the end of the season this year. Liverpool now with Van Dijk look a completely different team to the team last year. And I don't care what anyone said, Van Dijk, well, he's the organ grinder. He makes that team tick, and his range of passing is phenomenal. So Liverpool versus Chelsea. Jack, what's your thoughts on this one?
There's another tank in this game, and it's coming Liverpool's way. Romelu Lukaku. Fantastic. Played well against Arsenal. Big, strong. He's even lost quite a bit of weight, and the speed of him nowadays, fantastic to what he used to be in the Premier League. He's an animal. Is that Batista in the wrestling? How do Liverpool
look all this up?
I know Batista.
How do Liverpool handle him? Chelsea are on a good run of form, European champions, rightfully so, beating Manchester City in the Champions League final. Chelsea are very good. Liverpool have just beat Burnley 2-0. Liverpool beat Norwich as well. 2 teams that Liverpool should be beating. They've still got Norwich City Cup, haven't they, Liverpool? After all them years of battering Norwich at Carrow Road, which not a great sight for Norwich City fans, believe. Chelsea are on a good run of form themselves, beating a very terrible Arsenal side. Couldn't defend to save their lives. Even if they tried, they might as well just sat on the bench and let Chelsea put it in the net. I'm going to go Chelsea 2, Liverpool 1 in this one.
2-1 to Chelsea. Jordan?
I've put Liverpool 2, Chelsea 3. I think there's going to be a lot of goals. I think Liverpool's got a better defense than Chelsea. My notes was Van Dijk versus Lukaku. And it's because, like you said, when you see Liverpool with Van Dijk and without, it's night and day. So it's going to be interesting to see how Van Dijk handles Lukaku, whether Lukaku can pin him how he was pinning the Arsenal defenders was like man versus a boy. So if I think a lot of it rests on that duel up there, and then the pace of the wingers, whether it's Werner or Man or whoever's playing Zayek or whatever. But for me, it's going to be a great game. But I think Chelsea are gonna pip it and with the 3-2.
I'm going to sit on the fence on this one, boys. Sadly, I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I just think it's two very good teams going at each other today. This is completely, as I said at the beginning, different Liverpool team to the one last year, and Van Dijk, Lukaku will be a massive bustle. But I just think Salah can have a massive say in this game going at that back line. Chelsea, yeah, look, they've won, but they've not had any tests yet in their defence. And Mane, Firmino and Salah are starting to link up how they were 2 seasons ago when they won the Premier League. So it's going to be interesting. You got to bring into it, though, they've got Jota as well. And Jota last year, what a signing he was for Liverpool. Even though Liverpool was struggling, he was still scoring goals for fun. And at £45 million was a bargain for Wolves for me. An absolute snip of a striker for them. So, yeah, I'm going to sit on the fence for this one. I'm going for a 1-1 draw. At least sitting on the fence. Well, he's going 2-2. Boring 0-0. Oh, that would finish off the Sunday night. Nice. Yeah. Dan's going with you with the goals here, Jordan. He's going a 4-3 Chelsea win. Another draw, 2-2. Andy says a ball draw, 0-0. Steve said 2-2, another 2-2. Daniel says again, 2-all. Mark's going for a 2-1 Chelsea win. Fee's going for a 2-1 Chelsea win. Yes, he's going for a 3-1 Liverpool win. Dave Gavin's a 2-1 to Liverpool. Liam says 3-1 to Chelsea. Another 3-1. Well, there goes into the Sunday fixtures with a mouth-watering Yorkshire derby. Burnley versus Leeds. Burnley, well, not had the best of starts to the season again in the Premier League. Haven't signed many players, but I know they signed Aaron Lam and has gone back to one for the rest of the season. I think he's signed for. So they've got some pace on the wings again. Against the Leeds side who, well, they're going to want to get that first win. A horrid show at Old Trafford. After getting themselves back into the game in the space of 5 minutes, it fell apart. And then a draw against Everton at home. Jack, what's your thoughts on this one, mate?
What a player Rafinha is for Leeds. What a presence and winger he really is. Knows how to take on players. And scored a quite good goal against Everton. He's very technical, Rafinha. You don't know what you get until you actually come up against him. He's a very modern style winger. You just don't like defending against players like that who don't really know how to handle them sort of players. Burnley, 2 loses from 2 now. They were relegation favourites last season. Could nearly have got relegated. Leeds, they got a battering at Old Trafford and got a 2-2 draw against Everton. Leeds, his home form's better than their away form. Burnley are at home. The crowd will get right behind them for sure. Chris Wood, Ashley Barnes, very big presences, aren't they, for Burnley? That's the way Burnley play. 2 big men up front and aim for that and hopefully score goals and get on the end of them. Leeds, Patrick Bamford just been called up to the England squad. That'll give him some confidence to prove why he should be in the England squad every time. I'm going to go Leeds 2, Burnley 1 in this one.
2-1. Jordan, what's your thoughts on this mouth-watering tie?
So what you're saying, Burnley are a Stoke 2.0?
Oh, you trying to say that Sean Dyche is the new Tony Pulis?
Where do I start? I've got Leeds winning 1-0, and my notes were like Leeds need to get a win under their belt. Burnley has never been a place to go and like you enjoy because the fans, like the pitch, like everything about it is just not great. So, but for Leeds, it's round the corner. And like I said, they need a win, and Bamford getting called into the national team is obviously hopefully give him that ploy to kind of score more goals. But I think Leeds are just overall they've got the better team. 2, they play better football. So hopefully that shows in the game because the way Burnley play, I'm not really a fan of, to be honest.
Oh, I don't blame him. We talk about Burnley's not a nice place to go, but Tricky Trev always liked to goal at Turf Moor. He always liked to score against Burnley, Tricky Trev.
But that was at Watford.
I've gone for a 3-1 Leeds win. I don't see this as a contest for me. I think Leeds will go there and get the first win at the weekend. Chris Wood score against his former club. It always happens. But I just think Leeds will have too much of Burnley. And Burnley, for me, are going to be really fighting this year to stay in the league. So I've gone to a 3-1 Leeds win. See what everyone else is saying. Stephen says that 2-1 Leeds. Burnley to nick it 1-0. It would be typical Burnley way to do it, though, nick it. Yeah. Mark says 3-0 dirty Leeds. Someone had to put it. Had to be you, Mark. Dave Gavitt says tight game 2-2. And he says 2-0 to Leeds. They're more quality than Burnley. I can't see Burnley offering any challenge. The Fox's Arms. Jamie's here. There we go, Jordan. Jamie's watching from the Fox's Arms in there.
There you go.
He must be quiet in the bar tonight, eh?
Just changing the game.
Quick. The game's got a draw all over it. Oh dear. We then move to Tottenham versus one of your former clubs, Watford.
Yep.
Tottenham got their first win at the weekend. Won 2 from 2. Sorry, beat Man City and then beat Wolves both 1-0. Harry Kane finally coming out admitting that he's staying at Tottenham for one more season, so he can then get his move for a cheaper fee because his contract's about 1 year left after that. Against the Watford team, who I was very impressed with in the Championship and been very impressed with since they came up. The first game against Villa, they scored some great goals in that game. And Sarr, for me, what a threat that player is. What a threat he is with all that pace. Jack, what's your thoughts on this game, mate?
Like you say, Tottenham have won 1-0 on each, beating Manchester City and Wolverhampton away from home. Watford, on the other hand, won their first game of the season 3-2 against Aston Villa and then gone and got a battering against Brighton. Brighton were the better team that day and rightfully deserved the 3 points. Watford didn't really turn up. Neither did Ismail Sarr. I guess Sarr's like St. Maximan at Newcastle. If he doesn't turn up, the team doesn't turn up. But I guess the Premier League is a bigger step up than the Championship. It's a more difficult, and you've got to work hard to get your points. It's not just a walkover against like teams like Forest and Derby. You can just take points off each week. Tottenham, on the other hand, they've got confidence boosting Kane now. He's staying, so that'll give them a massive boost this season. The Son and Kane partnership, most assists last season in the league as a partnership.
Record.
So
I'm going to...
Spurs are at home as well. So I'm going to go Tottenham 4, Watford 0.
4-0. Oh, dear. Jordan, have you got any hope for your former club, mate?
I've got hope that they're going to score 1 goal. Yeah, I've got Spurs winning 3-1, and I think Harry Kane is going to get a hat trick. Do I get double points for that or what? If you call that, I'll give you double points. If Harry Kane gets a hat trick and you get 3-1, I'll give you 6 points for that one. Yeah, all right. Cool. I think I've put 3-1, and I think just that boost of Harry Kane saying he's going to stay, them playing at home. Son, for me, is kind of the unsung hero. Like, I know the focus is always on Kane because he scores goals. But for me, if I was looking to buy a player like Son, he has like his work rate, he scores goals, assists. I mean, obviously, Harry Kane's a proven goal scorer. So if you got both of them up top as well, and then obviously the players that they have in behind, I think it's just Spurs are gonna have too much for Watford, unfortunately. So I've got 3-1 to Spurs.
I've gone close on this. I've gone for a 2-1 Spurs. I don't think Watford will come with the same game plan as they did at Brighton because they saw what happened. They got picked off. They've probably got to understand that you can't go to every game and try and win 3-2 and be open play. You've got to have a little bit of structure about you. So I'm going for a 2-1 to Spurs on this one. I'm going to say Kane and Song both will score. So if I get that, I'm on 6 points. But like you mentioned, Harry's now staying his same for another season. Not fair play, Harry Kane, loyalty and all that. We've seen that with Jamie Vardy on that League of His Own the other night, where he came out and said that he quite happy to finish his career at Leicester. So you can't moan for his loyalty to Spurs, but at 28, his good years. If you want to win things, can you win it at Tottenham? That's got to be the question for Harry over the years. I don't think so either, mate. And I think a player like Harry Kane, if he was to look back at his career and think, he's got a very good chance of getting the Premier League record. Don't get me wrong, he will probably beat Alan Shearer's 260 goals. I do feel he can get that. He's only 110 off it, mate. I think it is, something like that. And at 27, I still think he's got enough in the tank to do that. Yeah, let's see what everyone's going to say. 3-1 Spurs, 4-0 Spurs, Tottenham 3-1. Lee says 2-0 to Tottenham. Watford look poor against Brighton, very, very wobbly. Desmond 2-2.
The old Desi.
The old Desi. I saw Jamie says on the away games. He just says Desmond 2-2. Kane stays up 2-0 brace. 2-1 Watford. Fair play. Charles says 3-0. Mate, that'd be a massive result for them. 3-6 to Watford. 3-6 Watford. Could happen. We've never seen these Premier League games. We then move into the final game of the weekend. Wolverhampton Wanderers looking for their first win of the season after 2-1-0 defeats against a Man U side who looked inconsistent against Southampton. Had some chances, 2 cleared off the line and 1 off the post, I think, in the second half. But Man U are probably a bit frustrated not to be on 6 points, the same as Chelsea and Liverpool after the 2 games. Jack, what's your thoughts on this final game of the fixtures, mate?
Manchester United matched Arsenal's away record for unbeaten runs away from home against Southampton. Wolves just don't know how to finish the dinner, did it? It's still gone cold on the dinner table. Jimenez isn't firing. Traore's missing sitters. And so are many of the Wolves players. They had plenty of chances against Spurs last weekend. Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, Mason Greenwood's on form. They've got Jadon Sancho, Rafael Varane. Will he start for Man United this game? I just think Man United will want to win this game, but never underestimate Wolves. They could end the unbeaten run away from Man United's away unbeaten run. So I'm going to go for Wolves 2, Manchester United 1.
What?
That's close. What's your thoughts, Jordan? I'm going to think you go for a big hitter here. You go for a 3 or 4-0, are we?
No. I've got Man U winning 2-1. I mean 2-0. And the reason I say that is because Wolves have only conceded. It's only been 1-0 the last 2 games, right? So that just shows you, like you said, Jimenez and Traore and just not firing up top. Man U have the firepower, obviously the better squad. But then, even though I'm saying Man U's going to win 2-0, I think if you get like a 9 out of 10 performance from Traore, whose speed is I've never seen ever in the Premier League or out of any professional football in my life, I think if you get a 9 out of 10 from him, then Wolves might pip it. But he's just too inconsistent for me, and that's why I've gone for Man U winning 2-0.
I'm going for Desmond on this one. I'm going for a 2-2 draw. I've just got a feeling this weekend is the weekend Wolves start scoring goals. They've had, I think it was 25 shots or something last weekend or something like that. That's ridiculous. And I think in the Leicester game, he had 18 shots. It's only a matter of time. If you can have that many shots towards goal, that the ball's going to start in the back of the net. I mean, if you're a Wolves fan, you think you've lost the first 2, but you're creating all that chance. You can't be too concerned, really. So, yeah, I'm going for Desmond on this one, a 2-2 draw, and I think Jimenez will get 2 this weekend and will get himself off the mark.
It'd be good to see him score again.
Definitely, man. And a lot of respect to him for coming out after the game and saying that the Leicester players were all like, brilliant to see you on here, and congratulating him at corners and stuff. And he said it was like really respectful. So good to see him back after that head injury. Mark says 2-1 to the Wolves. Tough one, reckon. Wolves might nick this 1-0. Dave Gavin says Wolves underestimated. I think 2-1 upset Wolves. A lot of people going for the Wolves here. 1-1 draw, says Fee. Hadra on his way to Spurs. 3-1 United. Well, there is talk about that. Another 3-1 United.
Imagine
Jordan.
Traore, Kane, and Son. Jeez.
And once Troy managing to finish his dinner, then we'll be all laughing at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Jordan, thank you for coming on, mate, tonight and
Thanks for
joining
having
us.
me, man. Hey,
We
look,
will.
look, my mum sent me with my shirts. Look, she sent me my debut shirt.
Look at that. Number 46, wasn't it? Yes, it was.
Yeah, I think it's like size XXL. It doesn't even say the size of it. Look how big the colours are.
I always laugh at the old shirts because they always
I got the program as well. Look.
Oh, Peggy Fexad.
And the funny thing is, like they do the odds
Teams.
of like scoring. And I was 25-1. This was my debut, 25-1. And Robbie Savage was 25-1 as well. So next time I talk to Sav, I'm gonna say I was 17 and I was odds on to score like same as you.
Fair play. Jordan, before you go, mate, what are you up to nowadays? What career path have you taken since leaving professional football?
Yeah, so now living in California, sun's always shining, so no complaints there. Working with a company called Vova, which is similar. It's a podcast platform for short form. So on the app, it's 1 and 2 minute like snap bite pieces, and then you can watch or listen to the full episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. That's why I've got the nice equipment here. It wasn't. I didn't just buy it for the show. So yeah, that's I got a show on there called The Grind, which is me and an NFL footballer from America, and we kind of compare our two sports, football versus football, and interview different people from whether it's athletes or people who have been entrepreneurs in business and that kind of stuff. So that's my day today. And then I still play over 35s. So I was trying to stay fit.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. Jordan, we'll definitely have you back on later in the season to give you some more predictions. Thank you for joining us tonight. Take care, mate, and we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks for having me. Much appreciated.
There we go. Jordan Stewart, another legend from the past, has joined us to give it the predictions. Jack, as always, thank you for coming on, mate, and giving your predictions. I know you want to. I need to get some wins in a bit, mate. I've got to catch them, and especially if Jordan gets a Harry Kane cap trick and 3-1 on Duft with 6 points. I'll tell you, Jack. Thanks for coming on, mate, and we'll speak to you soon. Remember, Jack is at Carroll Road Saturday for the game, so he will bring you some team news and stuff outside the ground. Remember, tomorrow night 7:30. Join Reedy for his show. Thanks, Jack. Speak to you soon, mate.
See you later, pal. Pleasure. Bye.
And that just leaves me to say, as always, thank you for watching tonight. As always, we're on Monday night show, the famous Phil show, reviewing the game from the weekend. Wednesday night is Jack's show, normally when the away fan or home fan looking at the game ahead for the weekend. Thursday night, the prediction show, what you just watched. Friday night, Reedy show, getting involved and looking at the week ahead and the fixtures. And then, of course, Sunday, the famous, as Jamie loves me calling it this, the famous Aftermath show. And this weekend, it will be an Aftermath show where you can react to the game from the weekend. Thanks for joining us. If you're watching this on replay, drop your comments in below on YouTube. We always want to have your feedback, what you think of what we're doing on here, and see if we can make it better. For now, take care. Keep it Leicester Fan TV.
Thanks for watching Leicester Fan TV. Thanks to our sponsors, ADT Taxis, Everards, Pukka Pies, Pink Car Leasing, Leicester Riders, Hollogram, The Fox's Arms, Peter's Pizzeria, and Hope Against Cancer. Make sure to follow us on all of our social channels at Leicester Fan TV. Visit our website, leicesterfantv.com.